So, like many people, I've watched the video circulating on the internet with the boys bullying another child, and there are many other videos that has actually been circulating about that, about the school in Benin in Nigeria. Um, it's it's such a sad thing to see. It's such a sad thing to know that these kind of things are happening in schools. But one of the questions, and there's lots of blames. They're blaming school, they're blaming parents, they're blaming the kids themselves. And I think for me, I want to come from the angle of the parents and values. You see, when I watched the video, I thought to myself, I said, what can really happen in the mind of a child or a human being that will justify hitting, kicking on the head, on what would justify that level of anger and level of wickedness and meanness towards a fellow human being? I thought of values and I thought to myself, when a child is rooted in values, because this shows, just when I was watching it, all I could see, I'll tell you the things I could see here from this video, and then I will dive it into this, what I'm talking about in values. Lack of values, lack of being rooted in values was definitely was very obvious. And then for me, I think it's also lack of models around these children. The third thing I see is a lack of accountability on behavior. So these kids, this is not the first time they're doing it. So they've done things and gotten away with things for so long. They've never been accountable for their behavior. And then lack of teaching emotional regulation, which connects to models as well, because the people around them must be displaying some level of dominance, control, anger towards other people. And you see the thing about this dominance and control. It can become so normalized that children would then see this having authority and being the boss over somebody and just being wicked and mean to someone. They will see it as normal because that's what they've seen around them. Lack of values, lack of accountability to their behaviors, lack of role models, and then also lack of emotional regulation. They've never been taught how to handle anger, how to handle that they will not get everything that they want. And it's when they don't get their way, when someone doesn't do what they say, then they just lash out. Where are the values in our homes? And I see a lot of comments. Oh, I'm going to go teach my child karate or taekwondo. Everyone's talking about the physical things that they need to equip their children with. And I'm not against karate and all that. No, please, don't quote me wrong on that. I'm not against that. That's not the first thing. The first thing is being rooted in values. A child who is rooted in values will not even be able to treat somebody like the way those boys were treating the victim. When a child has been rooted in values like integrity, empathy, kindness, honesty, where they would that oh, do you know, I thought I need to just share this video, but I couldn't even share it the first day. But anyway, let me, I don't want to kind of divert from what I'm saying. When a child is rooted in values like empathy, responsibility, self-control, compassion, kindness, these values are values that will be ingrained in them. And I tell you something about values and value formation for family and children. It's not a one-day thing. It's not a one-day thing that you say, oh, we are kind in this house. Everybody, it's a repeated thing. It's repeated. It's not automatic. It's repeated. They're taught, they're modeled, then they're corrected over time. It's repeated. I can't stop talking about values because it's the key. And of course, come to lack of models. We've got to model those values because values are caught more than they're taught. Values are caught, CAUGHT, more than they're taught, TAUGHT. Values. Values, parents, values. When I talk about lack of models, when a child is so used to seeing parents, guardians, uncles, aunties who are always aggressive towards people, aggressive towards their house helps, aggressive towards their work, their employees, just embarrassing people, humiliating people, that dominance behavior. As I said it just earlier on, that cruelty begins to feel normal. And children soak in what is normal around them. And they're going to imitate it. So they're now in school, in boarding school. They want to imitate that dominance that they see. So lack of models is part of what the problem is. And then when I talk about lack of emotional regulation, the shock I got from watching the coldness and the aggression of these kids. And these kids they're still in secondary school, so they wouldn't even be, maybe not even up to 16. Yeah, not up to 16 years old. But yet the level of coldness and aggression was unbelievable. And I tell you something, parents, emotional regulation is not natural to children. They must be taught emotional regulation. Like a child doesn't get it. A 2-year-old, a toddler doesn't get what they want. They all angry, tantrum, we call them toddler, the tantrum. It's emotional regulation is not natural to children. They have got to be taught over time how to handle anger, how to respond to frustration, how to walk away from conflict, how to control those impulses. They've got to be taught. They must be taught and not assumed, because a lot of times we assume that children should know. Why are you angry? No. You should do that. No. Don't ever be angry. No. That's not teaching. That's not teaching. We have got to teach them over time. Teach them continuously. And not because we taught them one day, we say, okay, we've taught them. It's an everyday thing. It's got to be reinforced. And we've got to model it as well. We have got to model it as well. Then I talk about lack of accountability. You see, behavior grows where correction is absent. And sometimes we think we're correcting. And I'm going to say this out loud because sometimes parents will say, oh, but I corrected them. I disciplined them. I flogged. I shouted. I'm talking about constructive correction. When you flog a child for doing something, do you think they've been corrected? No. You've just instilled fear in them so that they don't do it again. And yes, in your presence, you're right. They may not do it again. But what will they do when they're outside? What will they do when they're outside? Because it's not ingrained. That correction has not, that behavior has not been modeled. That behavior has not been transformed inside of them because the correction was absent. And so there's lack of accountability. They get away, when children continuously get away with disrespecting people, they get away with intimidation, they get away with cruelty. They become bolder, they become more aggressive, they become tougher, they become harder over time. They become cold and mean over time because there was lack of accountability in their behavior. We just let them get away with stuff. And that is totally wrong. Totally, totally wrong. So what must we do for our children? Everybody wants to jump on and go and teach their children karate, and that's fine. Karate is fine. But what of the values? What are we modeling to them? How are we keeping them accountable in their behaviors? I've raised 3 boys. They're now young adults. I could never, ever imagine my boys do that to other people, because we brought them up, we raised them up with values. We spoke values. We still speak values up till today. We still speak values. When they all come home during the holidays, we talk about values. So values is not a foreign topic, irrespective of the age of your children. But it's better to start now so that it's ingrained in them. And my boys are tough. None of my boys are soft. My boys are tough boys. But they've got compassion. They've got integrity. They know how to treat people well. And I'm going to say that. And it's not a bragging thing. It's more of that it can be done. Because then there's a school, I was going to say there's a school of thought, as if I was speaking in my number thing. I can still use that. There's a school of thought that would say, but yes, the children were brought up in a good home, but they then went to school and fell in the wrong crowd. And yes, there's truth to that. But I tell you something, values that are reinforced over time, they can test. They will be tested under pressure. And they can still stand strong. Because yes, they will get temptation. Yes, they will get the influence out there. But that's part of what we talk about when we're talking about values in our homes. We're talking about the obstacles that can also get in the way of the values. So we equip our children with those obstacles. And when you equip your children with the obstacles that could come, they could face, then they're powerful. They're stronger in those terms. They can say, no, I'm not doing that. No, leave him alone. No, this is wrong. I'm not gonna stand for this. Because you guys have got something to stand for. You have raised them up in that way. Yes, there is influence out there. I'm not denying it. But there's bigger influence in your home when you really reinforce values in the home. Sometimes I talk to young people and say, what values? Oh, we have godly values. Yes, godly values are great. But what of other character values? Let's talk about integrity. Let's talk about kindness. Let's talk about resilience. Let's talk about patience. Let's talk about responsibility, accountability. These are the things that our children need to hear on a daily basis. Respect, compassion, empathy. They need to hear it. They need to hear it. And it's not just a one-day thing. So we must talk about values explicitly. We can't just assume that our children know that they should be kind. Oh, because we said it 2 years ago, they know that we are a kind family. No. Have you said it today? Have you reinforced it by asking them, which of our values did you showcase? Did you exemplify today? What are you talking about values with your children for? Sometimes I ask young people, what values have you guys got at home? They cannot answer. I have to now break down what I mean by values. Please, if you're going to take anything away from this video that I'm sharing today, please, let's go back to the values table. Let's go back to the values table. I mentor young people. And in our mentoring on the Rise and Thrive Mentoring Academy, I'm always talking about values. Always talking about values. Because that's the key to their character. That's the key. It's the roadmap to their choices, their decisions. It's the roadmap. A child who hasn't got any values to hold on to is a child that could go anywhere. So we must continue. We must continue to teach and model values. It's very, very important. And accountability must exist at home. We have to. They have to know, children have to know that we care about them, not just about their grades, but we care about who they're becoming. We care about their character. And it's not through threats, it's not through corporal punishment. No, they need to know that we care. Is that caring that transforms behaviors? Is that caring that makes them know that even when they're outside, they remember that we care about who they're becoming? And they act like who they're becoming, they should be becoming. Very important. I was going to talk about the school, but I'm going to leave that to a lot of educators and stuff to talk about. Schools that do not have maybe bullying policies, the only part I want to say about in the school is the question of what is the relationship like between the school and parents. When you have a strong relationship with parents and a two-way relationship with parents in a school, there are many things that will be brought to the table and the school will be kept accountable to then do the work. But if the relationship is weak, then parents are not going to raise concerns early, and teachers, they will hesitate to communicate and share about difficult behaviors, and values are not reinforced. Our schools are there to complement the values that we've reinforced at home. But if there's no strong relationship between the school and parents, then there's no accountability and they don't work together. So these are the things that must happen for us to really, 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 really get to the bottom of this. For our generation, for our children, for our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. So the question is not just why did those boys behave like that? No. The deeper question to ask is what kind of character are we forming in our schools? Because people might say, no, okay, what do we do now to stop bullying? Oh, bullying. What do we do to stop bullying? I will say, what do we do to start forming character and values in our children? Because with character and values in our children, then bullying will be done. Bullying will be gone. So we can't really try to deal with the fruits of the bullying. We have to deal underneath it. And that's the values, the character formation. That's what we have to handle. And it's on all of us. Parents, schools, relatives. It's on all of us. It's on all of us to model these behaviors. It's on us to model it, to teach it, to reinforce it, to repeat it day in and day out. It's on us. It's on us. It's on us. So I'm going to wrap up here. I know I've been so passionate about it, but if you love this video, if you have any thoughts about it, share it in the comment section below. And yeah, I'm going to say this, please follow this page. I'm going to be sharing more and more about things like this and teaching us what to do. I'm a parenting educator, consultant, coach, a partner in parenting. I'm also a youth mentor, a lead youth mentor, and I've mentored young people for years. Come on in, subscribe to my channel, share this link, share this video. And I'm going to do more videos. Let's do this together. We are raising a great generation. But we've got to be great in raising that generation. And we cannot escape from teaching our children values. It's a key component to any parenting. I trust this helps. Remember, who are we raising? What kind of human beings are we raising? That's the question that I'm going to pose to all of us. What kind of children are we raising? God bless you.